Welcome to the deep dive. So picture this. It's that classic end of summer BBQ, right? The smell of the grill. And yeah, usually there's beer, lots of beer. But what if you wanted an upgrade? Something that could actually handle those smoky meats, the sticky sauces, without just, disappearing. We're talking about wine today. And really our goal is to figure out what makes these BBQ wine pairings genuinely work.
Yeah, that's spot on. For this deep dive, we've sorted through, well, a whole bunch of sources to find some real-world, battle-tested BBQ wine pairings. The idea isn't to get lost in super fancy wine jargon. Not at all. It's about practical flavor matching that honestly anyone can get the hang of. It's about helping you get the info you need quickly, easily, so you can kind of transform your next cookout. Even if, yeah, beer's usually the go-to.
And what's really cool from what we found is that these pairings aren't fussy or anything. They're actually called fuss-free and, like you said, battle-tested at cookouts across town. There was even this great story about a diehard IPA guy totally committed right. And a Zinfandel with his burger completely won him over. Kind of shows these basics that really make a difference.
And what's fascinating is the why behind it. Why wine can be an upgrade for BBQ. It's really about its ability to stand up to those really big, bold flavors. Some drinks might clash or just get overwhelmed, but wine, it can give you these refreshing sips, cleanses the palate. Think of it like a little reset between bites. It actually makes the food taste better. So it's not about the wine being the star. It's about, making the whole meal better.
Okay, so if you're after that kind of secret weapon for your backyard parties,
Yep.
this is basically your cheat sheet. We've boiled it down into a quick guide. Real BBQ pairings that actually work, not just theories.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's just jump right into these key pairings and let's really get into why they work so well with classic BBQ food. First one, grilled ribeye. What you want here is a Malbec. The sources are clear. Malbec loves fat and fire. Simple as that. It's got these deep, dark fruit notes, think blackberry, plum, maybe a little smoky hint sometimes. It just matches that rich ribeye flavor perfectly. And importantly, Malbec usually has medium tannins. Those are the things that make your mouth feel a bit dry. But with fatty meat like ribeye, those tannins grab onto the proteins and fats. They basically scrub your palate clean. So every bite tastes fresh again. It's this cool back and forth. Good ones to look for. Maybe Alamos Malbec, Susana Balbo Crias is another good shout.
Okay, yeah, that palate cleansing thing. That's huge, isn't it? Makes total sense. But what about BBQ chicken, especially those tangy, maybe sweet sauces? The recommendation is oaked Chardonnay. Now, Chardonnay. Some people love it, some, not so much. Why oaked specifically?
That's a really good question. So an oaked Chardonnay gets this creamy texture, right? And it picks up notes of vanilla, sometimes caramel from the oak barrels. And that creaminess, that touch of sweetness, it balances those tangy and sweet BBQ sauces really well. It kind of wraps around them instead of fighting them. It's less about power, more about being a comforting partner to the chicken. Kendall Jackson Vintner's Reserve is a classic example. Rombauer Chardonnay, too. They really nail that style. Okay, moving on. Pulled pork, especially if it has a sweet sauce, you need something to cut through all that richness and sugar. And this is where Lambrusco comes in. It's a sparkling red from Italy.
Sparkling red. Okay, that sounds a bit out there.
I know, right? But trust me, it works. The bubbles, that effervescence, plus it's bright acidity. It just cuts through everything. It refreshes your mouth, handles the sweetness, handles any spice. It's surprisingly brilliant. Look for names like Clito Curly or Medici or Mette. They make great Lambrusco.
Lambrusco with pulled pork. Yeah, that's definitely one of those pairings that makes you go, huh, okay. And speaking of surprises, the sources mentioned shrimp skewers with Albarino being a huge hit. Even with the serious beer drinkers, what's the magic there?
It's all about crispness. Albarino is typically Spanish, a white wine, and it has this fantastic sharp acidity and bright citrus, think lemon, grapefruit. That acidity just slices through the richness of seafood, especially grilled shrimp, keeps it from feeling heavy, leaves your palate feeling clean, bright, ready for more. It's just a super vibrant pairing. Martin Kodak's Albarino or Paco and Lola are usually easy to find and really good. Now, for spicy sausages, you might think you need something really big and bold here, right?
Yeah, that's what I'd guess.
But actually, an off-dry Riesling can be amazing. Off-dry just means it has a little bit of sweetness. And that touch of sugar is key. It actually cools down the heat from the spice. Plus, Riesling has great acidity, too, so it keeps all the flavors bright and stops them from, clashing. The sausage flavor still comes through. Dr. Lucen Riesling is a classic. Kung Fu Girl is another popular one. All right, next, grilled veggies. mushrooms, zucchini, maybe some corn. For those, Pinot Noir is just elegant. It works so well. Pinot Noir often has this earthy quality, like forest floor, mushrooms, and brighter red fruit flavors. It means it's versatile. It complements the veggies without overpowering their more subtle earthy notes. La Crema makes a very popular one. Arif Pinot Noir, too. Both solid choices. And the grand finale, the classic cheeseburger. You know, messy, cheesy, delicious.
The best kind.
Exactly. For that, you want Zinfandel. Zin is usually a pretty robust red. It's often packed with juicy red fruit, maybe blackberry, raspberry, and it usually has this peppery spice kick. That intensity, that body, it just stands right up to the rich burger, the cheese, the ketchup, whatever you pile on, makes the whole thing better. Ridge Vineyards Three Valleys is fantastic. Sagacio Sonoma Zin is another great one.
Wow, okay, that's an awesome cheat sheet. Really useful. But like, beyond just memorizing those pairs,
Yeah.
how do we think about picking wines for any cookout without making it stressful,
Yeah.
What are the main things to keep in mind?
Exactly. Let's kind of unpack that. Think of it as a simple flavor-forward guide. First principle, match the strength of the flavors. Makes sense, right? If you've got really bold food, like, say, ribs with a punchy sauce, you need a wine that's equally bold. A really light, delicate white wine, it's just going to get totally lost. It needs to hold its own. Second thing, acidity is your friend. We keep coming back to this, but it's so important for BBQ.
Right, like with the Albarino.
Yeah. Look for wines with good, crisp acidity. It cuts through richness, cuts through fat. Like adding lemon to a dish, it brightens everything up, keeps your palate fresh, stops things feeling heavy. Third, and this is super practical for BBQs, a slight chill helps. Seriously. Even for reds. Just like 15 minutes in the fridge or cooler before you serve them outside, especially if it's warm. It just makes them more refreshing, lifts the aromas a bit, doesn't dull them, just perks them up. And finally, maybe the most important, don't overthink it. Pick wines you actually like to drink on their own. Seriously, chances are, if you enjoy sipping it, it'll probably work pretty well with the food too. One source made a great point. Don't let searching for the perfect pairing ruin the fun of just enjoying a good wine you like.
That is such good advice. It takes the pressure off, doesn't it? Because wine can feel a bit intimidating sometimes. But what about when it goes wrong? We've probably all had those memorable mismatches, right? The ones you remember for the wrong reasons. Let's talk about what to definitely try and avoid.
Yeah, this is important. What happens when the wine and food are actually like fighting each other on your palate? We want you to think critically here about how flavors interact. So, for example, big, heavy tannic reds, think some Cabernet Sauvignons, often clash badly with spicy rubs.
Okay, why is that?
Remember we said tannins are kind of grippy? Well, when they meet capsaicin, that's the heat molecule in chili, those tannins can make the wine taste really bitter, and they can make the spice feel way hotter, like uncomfortably hot. There's this anecdote, right, about someone pairing a really nice aged Bordeaux, which can be quite tannic, with jalapeno stuffed burgers. Disaster. The wine tasted harsh, the burgers felt like fire, nobody enjoyed it, just a total clash. Another one to watch out for. Oaky white wines with really acidic things like vinegar or lemon-based marinades. The strong flavors from the oak, that vanilla, maybe smoky char, can react weirdly with sharp acid. You can end up with these strange, almost metallic tastes. Definitely not what you want. Just doesn't work. And lastly, think about delicate wines, something like, say, a light Pinot Grigio.
Yeah.
If you pair that with really fatty, powerful meats, the wine just vanishes. It completely disappears. It doesn't have the weight or the flavor punch to stand up. It's like a whisper trying to be heard over loud music. It's totally drowned out.
Yeah.
So again, it's not about rigid rules, but just understanding that does this complement or does it fight?
Okay, got it. Avoid the clashes. So we know the good pairings, we know the bad ones. But how do you actually serve the wine at a BBQ without making it feel like some formal wine tasting thing? Let's talk practical hosting stuff so you can actually use this without any stress.
Right. Simple strategies. Tested by real hosts. First, offer a balanced selection. Good rule of thumb is one red, one white, and one sort of wild card. Maybe a sparkling, maybe a chilled rosé. Covers most people's tastes. Second, forget the fancy glasses. Seriously. Use cute, reusable plastic wine cups. They don't break if they get knocked over, which happens at BBQs. And cleanup is way easier. Less stress for you. Third, and this is key for outdoors, keep the wine cold in buckets with ice. Temperature is huge. Put the white wines deeper in the ice to keep them really chilled. Reds, just let the bottles touch the ice or the cold water. Gives them that perfect slight chill we talked about. Makes a big difference. And here's a fun tip. Organize the bottles near the food they pair with. Maybe use simple handwritten tags. Try this with the chicken, or great with burgers. A friend who hosts amazing parties swears by this. Makes it super easy and fun for guests to choose. No guesswork. Oh, and maybe think about a dessert-friendly option. A little Moscato d'Asti, maybe a port bon. Those can be fantastic with grilled fruit, like peaches or even brownies. Adds a nice finishing touch. And honestly, the biggest benefit of doing a bit of prep like this, you get to relax and actually enjoy your own party. We're not stuck playing bartender.
That is such a great set of practical tips, this whole deep dive. It really shows that BBQ wine pairing isn't scary. It's actually kind of a secret weapon, isn't it? To make those summer cookouts feel a bit more special, more memorable. It's not about being pretentious, just enjoying how flavors work together can really elevate the whole thing.
Absolutely. So, what's the big takeaway here for you? Well, having this list of pairings is great, super helpful as a starting point. But remember, at the end of the day, your own preference is what matters most. Don't be afraid to try things out, see what you like. And this whole idea, paying a bit more attention to how flavors interact, it doesn't just make the meal better. It can enhance the whole experience of getting together, sharing food, savoring that moment. It's kind of a reminder that sometimes paying attention to the small details can lift the whole experience. Ultimately, the very best pairing at any BBQ. It's got to be good food, good drinks, and definitely great company. So go on, give it a try, experiment a little, and really enjoy those moments.